Story doesn't go as tragically as Ryu's does.
Well, it can't, Della, because Blind
true.
Pick is no more.
That is true. But some still say that Reaper is still dying to this day. Or Ryu, rather. Well, maybe Reaper, too, but Ryu mostly. Zed. All right, there's a ban against BDD, as usual. And the Nidalee ban against Ambition. Zir this time. Okay, I like this.
It has been his best champion, so they're going to try and ban out BDD. He can always play the Lulu. He can always play the Orianna. We know that. But what else does he have? What other tricks does he have up his sleeve? GP. So very similar bans. We're going to get a ban. The Lissandra against Cuve.
So are we going to see maybe an Alistar first pick here?
You'd think it'd be Lulu, but...
Might be Lulu. But then again, Lulu fell pretty far down the draft last game.
But you're not just going to give him Lulu when you know he plays Lulu. Why ban Azir if you're not going to first pick a Lulu?
I mean, he's still got Orianna to pick up too. And
yeah. I'd rather have him on Ori than Lulu.
The interesting thing, though, is you look at Azir, Orianna. Those are picks we don't see very often in general. So, you know, how meta can BDD get, right?
All right, I don't understand the Poppy. Sure, they want to take it away from Antara, but the Lulu is the perfect champion for CJ. It's easy for BDD to play. It provides lane pressure. And guess what? It allows Kramer to go berserk.
Yeah, it's quite good in team fights. It's true. Well, I mean, we'll see what they go with here. Nautilus seems perfectly fine. Nautilus Alistar, I'd say give Mad Life the Alistar. Bard is available too. CJ has pretty much all the options in the world here.
Nautilus Lulu. Take it away.
Does CJ agree?
Corky. I don't know about this Corky now.
I don't even care about the Nautilus, really. You don't have to take the Trundle because they've already shown Poppy in the top lane.
Uh-oh. Okay, then.
Weird. Very weird, because usually the Trundle will be used as a way to deal with the Nautilus or to preempt that pick.
I mean, maybe they're thinking of flexing it.
Well, you can play Trundle into Poppy too, obviously. It's just not the most ideal matchup that you could have. Still obviously going to win the split push. Going to be do very well against Poppy's defense-heavy build.
I mean, both of CJ's picks can be flexed, I suppose. No Sivir in that last game, too, which is kind of surprising. So maybe...
No one wants the Lulu.
I guess so. Maybe Alistar, Lucian. Okay, nobody wants a Lulu. Oh, well. Huh. BDD on LeBlanc would be interesting. Lux we've seen before. And will we maybe see that Nautilus?
So they want to run a poke composition around Nautilus, or around the Trundle and Corky. And with Bubbling's performance on this Kindred, makes sense for them to take it, but they should really take Gragas this time. They're not in the same hole. Samsung has actually taken the Lucian early, so they can definitely play an AP jungler, no problem.
So with CJ, do you maybe end it with a Varus or something like that, or a Lux perhaps?
Could do either one. Varus, I agree, would be very strong. You have that strong front line already and the ability to group up and poke. They could run a team fighting composition, the same kind they ran last time as well.
Sure.
There's a Gragas. Along with
you
that,
have to take it.
Victor.
They could not take it last time. So I understand why they're making this pivot this time. They realize their mistakes.
Well, that's a good sign. Gotta learn. Ambition had a good game overall on that Graves last time around.
They have a ton of displacement now. I think this Kindred was a bit of a mistake this early. When you already see the Poppy and the Alistar, and you know that they can still take Gragas with the Lucian, CJ is in for, I mean, you're just not going to get that Lamb's Respite down in the same fashion that they were so successful with last game.
Yeah. And we talked about the way that the Gragas ultimate can just knock everybody off there really easily. Final pick coming in for CJ now. They've got a lot of flex options, so I mean, you could even flex that Kindred into ADC if you really, really wanted to.
Yeah, if you really wanted to, but not going to happen.
We don't usually, I don't know if we've ever seen that in Korea.
We saw Saucon play at mid once.
Yeah, I mean, like at ADC. We saw it back at IM San Jose.
Yeah, it does happen from time to time, but certainly not common. And
There's
you're
the
right,
Varus.
the Varus. So that certainly a good pickup here for them, but they have to deal with a lot more engaged this time. Have to be very careful about the flank coming in from Samsung and Ambition's ability to hit the barrels onto their backline. So new champion for BDD, Varus.
Well, this is good. At some point, we needed to see BDD sort of break out of the champions that he's been playing up to this point, and Varus in this comp seems like a good way to do that. Madlife has plenty of tanky targets for that Trundle.
You assume that when you take Nautilus and Trundle so early in the draft, you definitely assume that there's going to be some sort of poke composition coming in because, of course, that Trundle gets moved into the support position and they prioritize that Trundle even though they saw the Poppy in the top lane. Samsung with a pretty standard composition, Crown back on one of his best champions, on Victor. So they have great wave clears, so the poke comp may take a while to get really rolling here between the Death Ray and the Culling.
Sure enough.
Pretty good way to push off the minion waves from the turrets, and then we'll see what exactly CJ can do in order to poke them off in return and try and take some grouped as 5. Definitely a composition that you're going to want 5-man grouped if you are CJ. Whereas Samsung has some freedom now with the Poppy into the Nautilus for a little bit of split pushing perhaps, although a very slow split push here.
Well, Samsung overall in better shape to fight the CJ team at least, and that's what they're going to need to do, most likely. If they're going to have any hope of taking game 2 and tying things up, let's see if they can do it. Time to get in the game. All right, welcome to Summoner's Rift. CJ Entus versus Samsung. CJ looking for that 2-0, which would propel them all the way up to 4th place in the standings. Samsung, a win here would tie them with KT at 7-4 for the match record overall. Of course, KT did just 2-0 Samsung, so Samsung would remain at 4th because of the tiebreaker. But they got a chance. They got the Gragas. They can deal with the Kindred. See what they can do. And in 20 minutes, we'll see CJ start to fight.
Yeah, once they get their Trinity Force and their Tier nice and stacked up on the Varus and their Devour nice and stacked up on Bubbling.
Yep.
I think you're right, Doa. I think you're right.
Oh, I know. I know this team.
Would you like to see a lane swap too? Because I bet that's what we're going to see.
I would love to see a lane swap. That's my favorite, man.
I think
Just go and kill the turrets.
the lane swap will be here from CJ, and you
Oh,
know what?
really?
I'm
What?
right.
You're right? Good for you. You're the analyst.
Well, they're going to dodge the Lucian matchup in lane, so CJ once more.
We'll fight. Pause time. Wow, that's an awkward pause.
Pause
Whoa, pause fight. It's very boring. Uh-oh, Kramer's like, did you see me shooting Ambition?
Well, CJ actually taking the strong side jungle this time. They will be starting Raptors, so we won't see that same disruption. I was a little bit critical about CJ, or about Samsung rather, last game, initiating the lane swap with Corki, trying to hide him from the Callista, and then not starting on the strong side of the jungle and then getting disrupted when they were the ones who made the decision to put their duo lane top. So that was a bit problematic, but it will not be the same for CJ. CJ taking the more conservative approach to jungling, and it will pay off because Samsung just not going to find anything in the enemy jungle when they invade.
I saw somebody just leave the game out of the corner of my eye, but I didn't catch it. But somebody's having issues.
Thanks for your no information, Doa.
Hey, well, that's just how we roll here at OGN. You and I just kind of fill time.
Providing all that juicy information to the viewers.
I'd like to inform you that something has happened.
Great.
What it is, we're still figuring out, but, working on it. Okay, there we go. Back in the game. Looks like the pause is unpausing, and we'll let you know how that fighter on the Wolves goes. Went pretty well for CJ. No, I'm just kidding. It went better for Samsung.
Well, they got the Wolf.
Yeah.
So that's what matters.
That's right. There's Mad Life. Bask in his glory.
The game is definitely still going.
It's okay. I could just stare at Mad Life all day. No. Go back to Mad Life. No.
What, you don't like
well.
Wraith?
I like Wraith, but Wraith isn't Mad Life. Oh, we've got another pause. All right. Well, I guess we'll look at Kramer, too, a little bit. You know, CJ has never really had an ultra-strong bot lane before, right? I mean, Mad Life's always been great. We had Woong. Then we had Space for a long time. Now we've got Kramer. Now CJ finally has that powerful bot lane.
They do.
It is.
He's probably the best AD carry that CJ's ever had.
I think you're right. Oh, bubbling. Oh, Captain Jack was pretty good. Yeah, he was pretty good.
With Mad
Come on.
Life. Let's put that.
Okay,
let's
with
put
it,
it that
yes.
Mad Life.
That's for the Frost, CJ Frost transitioning into CJ
It doesn't.
now.
It doesn't matter what happened previously because it was only Mad Life that we're talking about in terms of that AD carry and
Sure.
having Woong and Hermes and Space basically.
Yeah. The good old Woong days. Space days. Space lasted a long time.
Why, we will never know.
We don't know. We have theories, but
What are your
we
theories?
don't know. The coaches really liked him. I don't know. That's my theory.
It's a good theory.
He seemed like a likable guy. I mean, he's jolly.
He was jolly.
He's got a very jolly atmosphere. you know?
That's a great word for
How
Space.
can you not like
jolly?
Space? Imagine trying to tell Space that he can't play for your team anymore. Think about
is
those
heartbreaking.
puppy dog eyes, man. That'd be. I would start crying if I had to tell Space he couldn't play on my team anymore. I'm like, sorry, you're so cute, but I can't. I don't know, but somebody had to do it. Reach came in there and he was just,
No,
get out, man.
Space retired.
Oh,
He
you're
was
right.
not
Okay,
cut.
that's right. Yes, he did. Space, the final frontier.
Was the final frontier. But now they have
Yep.
Kramer coming back, of course, from the LMS and Type A Assassins, and he's been doing a hell of a lot of work on this team. You can't argue with his numbers. You can argue that maybe somebody should be carrying this team besides him, but BDD has been slotted into more of a support role.
Yeah, I mean, so far so good though, right? I mean, and you can play that support role and still we see BDD making plays. You know, he's not like your Kuros, right? That just kind of sit there, be very, very standard, don't die.
Kuros are doing
job
really
because-
well this season.
This
so.
season, but think about when Kuro started, though,
Sure.
right? He just played very, very safe, did his job. BDD, I feel like, is staying pretty safe, but he's also making very, very good plays, very good individual plays within team fights, too. So it kind of gives him that little extra edge, that they really need in the mid lane to take a little bit of the pressure off of Kramer.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that's the most surprising thing is how well he's doing in these team fights as a solo queue player. We are back in the game.
Yeah, well, I mean, solo queue, you kind of randomly group up and fight, too. So I suppose there is a
It's not
little
random.
bit of a similarity.
CJ, the fights CJ took last game were all very good.
Right. But BDD is trained to look at a team fight and say, what can I do to make a difference?
What can BDD do for you?
That's right. How can BDD make a BD difference? Well, you know what time it is, Monty?
Tower pushing time?
No. Not just tower pushing. It's time to kill some towers. It's tower killing time.
Nice. I love this part.
Tower destruction time. Who are the guys that have to rebuild the towers after each game of League of Legends? Like, who are the unlucky souls that have to go onto Summoner's Rift and be like, again? Although the towers kind of rise up from the ground, so maybe they've just got spare ones down there.
Do they rise up from the ground?
Yeah, they do.
When?
Like at the very beginning of the game, if you watch.
They do?
Yeah, they kind of do. So basically,
Somebody
theory,
has to build them underground, though.
Yeah, my theory is that they've just got a lot of
Dwarves.
extra ones. More of Brahms people, I guess.
It's dwarves. They're building them underground.
Yeah.
Some nice dwarven architecture.
True. See, look, there's kind of like a hole where the turret sits. And see it kind of collapses into itself.
Yeah, but
So
it's
I'm
all
pretty sure-
broken.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure you lower it down. It's sitting on a platform. You push it out of the way. You slide another new one on there. You rise it back up again.
I
Raise it
prefer
back
to
up,
think
you
of
know?
them like bowling pins, where there's just a machine that comes out of the sky and
It's a
puts another
magical-
one there.
Magical turret reset machine. But those guys have to be a little bit annoyed, when like 4 minutes into the game, 2 of the turrets are already done. They're like, what did I even do this work for? Why? Why do I go to all the effort to put all this artisan work into these turrets.
And then Riot comes in sometimes and they're like, can you make the top turrets stronger?
You're like,
the bottom one's weaker?
You're like, sure, we'll just change them so they look a little bit different so people know. Wait a second. No, that's not something we're able to do.
They have to look exactly the same, but one actually has to be weaker than the other one.
That's right.
Just introduce some design flaws into the bottom side.
You realize that nobody tells them to do this. This is a lever that's being pulled. This is a balanced lever that's being pulled in the main office, and they just get the instructions. Kind of like how I envision it kind of like Spirited Away, that one house where they've got the bath tokens or whatever, and the guy just pulls a lever. It just goes there. It's like, well, I guess they want us to make this turret do more damage. Okay. That's how it works.
Nice delay there from Mad Life onto Cube on the switchback, and I don't know why everyone from Samsung is in the bottom side of the map right now while Stitch is just sitting in top. They are definitely going to lose this turret trade now. They may be trying to disrupt some sort of... They're going to TP onto this, actually, with
okay.
Poppy.
Yeah, TPing in there, and they save their turret for the moment anyway. TP, though, into top lane, Untara showing up, and that turret for CJ has a lot more health than Samsung's in the bot lane.
And they're all going to start to gather around the Scuttle Crab right now. They want to get the stack for Kindred, possibly harass some of this Dragon. Ambition trying to go after the Crab himself. This might be unwise.
Yeah, the Crab's got friends, and they're angry. There's a flash from Ambition. Wraith pushing away BDD. He's got a flash as well. Ambition very, very low. Chains come in. Do they reach Ambition? No, not quite.
Crown
Close
actually
call.
just cleansed that out. But now CJ's going to get this turret, and that was not a big win there for Samsung. They were trying to stack people on the bottom side to prevent the turret trade from going down and to power up the solution. So when the dust settles, Stitch is going to be able to get some more farm. Untara is also going to be able to farm out a little bit better because he is in that 1v1 at the top side.
BDD getting aggressive, takes a Chaos Storm to the face.
Not going to die though, has both of his summoners should he need them.
Yep.
So CJ's going to trade some farm on the AD carry for a Dragon.
Summoner heal used by Crown too. No, I'm sorry, that's a cleanse from a little bit earlier.
Yep.
Either way, one summoner down in the mid lane.
Definitely going to take cleanse versus Varus for the Chains of Corruption.
Oh yeah.
A wise plan to be sure.
Yep. Watch out for Varus and his demonic pants. He's using a different skin right now, but the standard skin has demonic pants of black flame.
Is that what you like?
Well, no, I'm just telling you what Varus is wearing. They look rather uncomfortable to me.
Okay, so what Samsung did right there was they got the Lucian into the lane faster, and they knew that Untara was going to be coming down for this push, so they actually just got some farm and a later teleport. Some of the minions had already died to the turret from CJ, and Cube is pushed up.
You are on the wrong side. Trying to run away. There's the turret. Cube forced to flash. He'll make it out, but they'll get that summoner.
Meantime, Corki is going to start freezing this and catching up when it comes to farm just a little bit, although same thing happening on the top side of the map. So Samsung basically traded a couple of summoner spells and a dragon for this farm advantage. And also some damage on that turret. So in the short term, do they get an edge? Yes. Yes, they do. In the long term, if that tower falls and they're not able to answer with the top lane tier 1, that's going to be a bad trade for them. Depends on how fast CJ can really get moving. Could also be a bad trade if CJ was able to take that dragon and then start stacking that up towards number 5 very early in the game.
Samsung's going for the Rift Herald now, but Mad Life and Untara close by. Looks like they'll probably get it though.
Stitch can't really respond to this.
Yeah.
Kindred not there. Kindred doing the red buff. No opportunity for a possible 3v3.
Yep, so Mad Life just kind of, I was going to say walks, but it's more like a shuffle, stumble. What does Trundle do exactly?
Trundles.
I guess, but
it's in the name, Doa.
I feel like I can't say that.
He is trundling.
I feel like I can't say that though, because it's already in his name. I have to think of a different word.
No, that's what he does though. That's why he's named that.
Can't we use a synonym? What in the world? Wow.
Yes, we will use.
What is wrong with you?
Shut
up! Don't even try it. I hate my life. They gave the speaking job to the guy who can't speak English. You realize this.
It's okay. They were Korean. They didn't know.
That's right.
They didn't know the mistake they were making.
I fooled them. I cleverly used small sentences.
Great ruse, Noah.
Truth comes out.
So Antara did get a lot of farm in the top side, and that's going to be the big difference maker. So Samsung basically loses this lane swap in the end by their weird decision making, trying to defend this bot lane tier 1.
Yeah, might be able to finish off this turret soon.
And it's super low. They traded the Rift Herald for the Dragon, but lost Summoner spells. And meanwhile, Corki catches back up. Of course, Stitch is going to have an advantage about comparable to the one that Antara has once that's all done. But Untara's fast teleport did actually net him a significant amount more CS. And then Kramer's subsequent freeze down on the bottom side of the map aided them in that regard too. And CJ, this is where they want to be. They don't want a lot of pressure in the early game. They just want to scale ever so methodically towards the Trinity Force and the Muramana, where they're going to have a lot of luck in the siege here against Samsung.
Well, so far Samsung looks ready to oblige them as well. Tara being sneaky, looking for the sneaky Grump, finds a sneaky ambition.
He doesn't want to be there.
I don't think so. There's the explosive cast, pushes it back, got to get there to flash. He's going to flash Ambition right there with him. Utara over the wall. There's the culling used. Nice body slam to lock him up long enough. Ambition gets that kill. First blood for Ambition, 2 games in a row now.
I don't know why he would be over at that side by himself. They do expect Ambition to be on the bottom side of the map, so it was a bit of a miscall there. You would think that he would be on the strong side, but if he doesn't have a jungler there to back him up, because what you want to do is have your jungler there with your top laner to start deporting and taking those camps away, counter jungling, because it's hard for Stitch to respond with a minion wave all the way to his tier 2, but when your jungler's on the bottom side of the map, you can't make that play, and that is exactly why.
Yep, BDD perfectly happy to send Crown back to base, getting himself a bit more farm. He's way ahead in that mid lane now is Varus. Wraith going in with a knockup onto Kramer. Wraith trapped by that pillar, made a mistake, flashed away. Madlife taking a lot of damage too. They can't kill off Wraith. That Trundle pillar was very good. That almost cost Wraith his life.
Yeah, has to burn his flash, however, BDD does have to use his heal to save Madlife. Matara gets back into the top side in enough time to grab some more creeps. So not a whole lot of harm done. We are even in gold when all is said and done, because Poppy's been able to push this back out. So we'll be Corki back into the bottom lane as we wait for item completions.
Oh yeah, tons of fun.
And also Devourer stacks.
Yep. Untara finding some CS. 55 to be precise so far this game. So he's got that going for him. Man, bubbling. Getting a nice amount of farm in the mid lane too.
Just holding it out there, making so that CJ can not lose out on too many minions or suffer too much turret damage.
Yep. Stitch coming up right now, but yeah, Ambition flanking on the side in the jungle. Bubbling scares him away. Stitch needs to be a little bit careful here. Looks like it'll be fine. Dragon's back up, and Samsung really wants to equalize that. They did get the first 3 dragons, I believe it was, in a row last game. Didn't get the first one this time, though.
Was their major win condition, but CJ has that going for them because Dragon Stack's going to be very important, and the second one, obviously quite helpful when it comes to the tower burn, especially with a poke composition. That is a very, very useful upgrade to have. No one is actually going to go for it, though. CJ just has, they're pushed in too far on that side of the map.
Yeah.
Can't make the play quite yet, but there isn't a lot of deep vision there for Samsung. Pink wards preventing that from taking place on the side of CJ, and they're still going to ping this out. They know it hasn't been done. Now,
The gold pretty even between these two teams. Each one desperately trying to be lower than the other. They want that stat.
the comeback stat.
That's right.
Down to 15 winning games.
You know, interestingly enough, actually, with those stats, is that Samsung actually has the 3rd lowest game time, despite having, you know, one of the lower gold deficits at 15.
They've been good at closing.
Yeah.
That is the strength of Samsung. But I feel that in the first game of this series, and the game is against KT, their draft was really lacking. This draft is much better. But they put themselves with their back against the wall after the Kindred was picked because they couldn't take the disruptive Gragas. This time they adapt,
CJ.
and they have the disruption to deal with the Kindred ultimate.
Well, they can't take the 2nd dragon, though. CJ will be ahead by 200 gold. Oh,
yep. Great for CJ. 33-minute 5th dragon on track. And they're just going to keep on pushing forward here. They are going to trade a turret for it as Stitch is in the top lane, equalizing that turret count.
Yeah, that's only going to finally even things up. CJ already doing a little bit of damage to that tier 2 in bot lane with this minion wave.
And basically now the difference is that first blood gold. That is the major factor separating 2 of these teams. Yep. And the Rift Herald gold too.
You know, interestingly enough too, CJ has surpassed all their lane opponents in farm too.
Yep, but Samsung getting that first blood and Samsung getting that Rift Herald does mean that they have approximately even gold despite a couple of deficits, most notably that mid lane.
Right. Well, now what?
How do you feel about waiting for Sated Devour to be done?
Oh, pretty apathetic, really. I mean, it's we're used to it. We're used to waiting now.
Well, BDD really hits that power spike once he has the Yomus and the Veromana completed, and he's still going to be stacking that tier for a while, in spite of how early he got it. He's got a ways to go on that item, probably about 4 more minutes. Meanwhile, Sated Devour for bubbling, not really going to be anywhere close.
BDD's been really, really accurate too with those Qs. Against Crown, laid very well against him. Pretty huge CS lead.
Well, it's a pretty easy matchup. I mean, Victor can't trade with you Q for Q. Has that E, but you can always just drop your Q and try and dodge that, especially with the boots already completed.
True. All right, CJ backing off.
As expected.
Oh yeah. Mad Life just putting his trophy everywhere. It's like, I want one of these.
I haven't won one of these in a really, really long time.
Seriously,
like
right?
3 years.
Yeah.
Someone give me one, please.
When's the last time? 2012?
2012.
Yeah.
Winter 2012 when they beat CLG EU. That was the last time Mad Life won something.
Wow. Wow, Kuve gets grabbed by Untara. Here comes the package. Kramer brings it in. Kuve in a lot of trouble. He's got his flash, but he's going to need more than that to get away. There's the flash used. Rocket misses. And Untara flashing ahead for the slow, and there's a kill. Just clonking him with the anchor there.
Untara didn't have to take that kill, actually. Kramer was in lane and had mana.
He's sick of giving Untara.
To finish that off.
He's sick of giving Kramer all the farm, all the kills, all the everything. It's time for Untara to step up, flash for that.
Untara's played some pretty good carry games on GP and Fiora, too, so it's not the first time that he's had the ability to put out the damage in one of these games.
Uh oh, Wraith a little bit trapped out here by the Trundle Pillar. Had to go back the long way, took some damage. Tara just fine farming in the top lane. He can start pushing that up a little bit. Has his TP, so he can join the rest of CJ whenever he needs to.
BDD in his pink ward bush.
That's right.
Lurking with his piercing arrows.
Oh, well, he did a little bit of damage from that. BDD stacking his tier.
That's right. It's where he wants to be. Just crying in the mid lane.
Yep. Hey, there's a ward there. Oh, he doesn't know. It's invisible. Skulls and stuff in that wolf pit. Yikes.
Yeah, nobody really ever dies there, though. One wonders what kind of loser would have to die in a wolf pit.
The skulls of Bronzies adorn the wolf pits. It's true.
Ah, yes, the old Farmaroo.
Ah, yes. The old champions Farmaroo. Don't eat that ward. No, that's not good for you. I mean, you can hit it, but Trundle should not be eating wards. Goodbye, Rift, Herald, whatever you were.
He went back to the Void. I don't know why he didn't just stay in the Void. The Void
Yeah.
looks dark. Maybe,
Just-
maybe his extra eye, actually, his huge eye actually works better because the Void is very dark, so he can collect a lot of light and actually see things.
Maybe he floats around in the void, so he just leads with his big eye. He can see better.
Is the Void like outer space, though? We don't know.
I don't know.
We don't know the answers to this question.
Ask Cassidon.
I don't
He
think
knows.
Cassidon likes talking about the Void. He's been traumatized by it.
It's true. He's had a bad void experience.
We need to ask Cho'Gath. He seems to like the Void.
Yeah, man. Vel'Koz, pretty happy with that. Kog'Maw, pretty happy about the void too.
Is Vel'Koz happy about the Void? Is he even from the Void?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he is.
I thought he was
'Cause he's,
an outer space tentacle
He's
monster.
the void something. He's the void something.
Wow, what a title.
I know, right?
You're the OGN something, though.
I know, right? I am the OGN something. It's true. There's no dispute. There's no dispute. Let's find out. We've got time.
Well, we may have a dragon fight here.
Maybe.
It's going
We'll
to
see.
spawn. CJ is simply just going to want
We'll
to poke this
see.
one and try and move out the bottom lane before they actually commit to it.
Oh yeah, Vel'Koz is the eye of the void. See, I thought so.
But isn't the Rift Herald the eye of the Void? He has a bigger eye.
Oh, that's true. There's an eye competition now.
It's an eye off.
It's an eye. That's right. And you know, I gotta side with the Rift Herald on this one. The Rift Herald certainly has a bigger eye than the eye of the void. Rito, please. What are you gonna do about that? You gotta make his eye smaller now. Just give him a vulnerable back. You know, it'd be cool if instead of a big eye, he'd have a big brain. It'd, like, come out of its brain case. So just hit the guy, hit the Rift Herald in the brain.
Just right in the brain.
Makes more sense than an eye. A lot of old video games had like brains that would expose themselves on end bosses randomly. You ever wonder about that? You're fighting this big boss, you're the guy from Contra, and this alien thing's like, ah, you can't beat me, let me show you my brain. Oh, you shot my brain. I was just showing you that brain. Why'd you shoot it? I never thought you'd do that.
You
What a
think
jerk.
if you had a really big brain, you wouldn't like show it to people. You'd know
think
that was
so.
your vulnerability.
You'd think so. You're winning so hard, you just want
Where
to show
did
it off
Samsung
sometimes.
go?
I don't know, but CJ's got a chance for a third dragon here unless Samsung responds. Tara, the top laners, can TP in anytime they want. CJ pulling this one out, going for it, dragon resetting, regenerating a little bit of health. CJ can just go for this one, and they will. They'll get that third dragon, and now chasing to see if they can find a bit of a fight. There's the exhaust on the Crown,
Pillar.
bubbling, flash pillar from Mad Life. Crown in a lot of trouble. There's another kill for CJ coming in. Bubbling, locked up by that gravity field though at the very end. Lamb's Respite though, going to keep him alive for the moment. Here comes Stitch from the side. Kuve in the back lines gets himself a kill for Samsung. Samsung turns one around. They're going to find Untara as well. And now CJ on the run. They got the dragon. They got a kill, but they lost two in return. It's not so bad.
Still worth. I mean, they have
Totally.
3 dragon stacks right now. Bit of a mistake from CJ. They over pursued that. Going too deep right there. After picking the dragon, you got what you want. Just get the dragon and start to stack up on their turret, start to siege. Instead, we do see the Trundle pillar slowing him down. Utara flashes over, but there's still a gravity field in the choke point, so Ambition sees an opportunity to go back in. And by this time, Cube actually able to get over the wall with a flash body slam right there. Or heroic charge, whatever it's called. Stunning
Flash-
him into the wall.
Flash move fast something. I don't know.
And then CC them.
That's right. CJ was doing good, but in the end they kind of showed Samsung their brain a little bit there.
Don't over pursue. CJ's composition is made for kiting. How much engage do they have?
Think about it. When you are winning in a game, you're winning in a fight, and you over pursue, you're showing them your brain. You're basically saying, yeah, I'm winning, but here's a great opportunity for you to kill me. Think about it. Don't show the enemy team your brain. You're well shielded.
Yeah, they don't have any kind of engage. Besides the Varus ultimate, really, and they already used that.
Whoa, that was not the greatest explosive cast. Mission takes a lot of damage. Nice zoning with the gravity field. Keeps CJ from engaging on that one. Wraith's still taking a lot of damage. He's got his ult if he needs to pop it. Stitch right there with the damage. Looks like he'll be able to back off. That was not the greatest engage attempt from Envision. Oh, EDD goes for the L2 though. Doesn't connect with anybody. CJ really wants his turret, but with some ults down, oh, no recall for you.
CJ doing the right thing now. But yes, to go back to it, they're a kiting composition they want to poke. The dragons are fantastic for them because late game, obviously the burn on the turrets from Dragon 2, and especially Dragon 5, once they get that true damage burn, and they're able to proc it so frequently with all their poke, absolutely fantastic for CJ, but there's no need to go in and offer their squishies up to Samsung's crowd control.
Here we go. Wraith going in for the big engage, Bubbling backing away. Kramer still with a great angle on this fight right now. Kube looking for his chance to get the back lines. Nice culling from Stitch. Wow, doing work. Takes down Utara.
Bubbling didn't use ult.
Yeah, I guess so.
Why would he not use ult? Ambition had saved his explosive cask for the ult from Bubbling, which is maybe why he didn't use it, but I think you have to use it if Utara is just going to die like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you've got your top laner getting culled and he can't get out of it, you have to do something anyway.
BDD also didn't ult. That was pretty sloppy from CJ.
Yeah, I almost want to say they didn't expect Samsung to engage there, but then again, CJ was heavily pushing the mid lane turret. I don't know what they were expecting.
Yeah, just kite it out, use your abilities, and then re-engage your siege right afterwards.
Yep. Stitch, what are you doing? Flashing over the wall.
Wow, farming
had no vision.
Too far.
Yep. Yeah. You drink and beat helpless animals, Gragas. That's what you do.
Dark.
I know, right?
Scuttle Crab is a peaceful creature.
I didn't invent the character. I just cast what I see on the screen.
Get drunk and beat up animals.
All I see is an alcoholic using this poor forest animal.
He's gonna go after Lamb next.
Yeah, I know, right?
His cruelty knows no bounds.
Seriously, Gragas, you monster. Ambition. Pink ward. Yeah, BDD, I mean, he missed his last ult before that team fight, so maybe he just got
he hit it. It was just flexed.
Though I'm talking about the one before that.
Oh.
He actually did miss one, yeah. But then maybe make him a little bit more hesitant to pull the trigger.
Well, now is not the time to hesitate, Doa.
Yep.
It's the time to siege. They have to start really whittling down these turrets. They need to get a turret advantage. Right now, that the Muramana almost is done, it doesn't get much better than it is currently.
Well, they got a pressure. I mean, a poke comp that can't poke is
hardly a poke comp at all.
It's just not a. It's just a comp.
It's just a comp.
That's right.
Is it even a comp?
Well, not much of one anymore.
However, the Dragon's still in their favor, and we've got 1 minute. They're prepping for that already. Untara has the TP available should he need it, but it would be a huge help to CJ if they could take out this mid turret, but I just don't think it's going to happen with Victor there.
Yeah. Trundle really loves putting pillars down. He's like, oh yeah.
Wouldn't you?
I guess if I could make a giant trophy appear out of nowhere in front of me, I'd probably say something like, oh yeah, really exuberantly at the same time.
Unfortunately, giant trophies aren't really worth much. It's not like they're made out of precious metals or anything.
Maybe mine would be.
Make a giant trophy of gold for yourself.
Gold trophy, yeah, why not? Sounds totally an anime character thing, right? Where you just fight by dropping a giant gold trophy on somebody. This had to exist in some cartoon somewhere. Oh, Kramer finds just going for the 1v1. Nice flash. Outplayed. Dude, that was a sick 1v1. And now the rest of Samsung slowed up as CJ engages. Wraith on the run already. Kube trapped up. Nautilus ult coming in. There it is. Knock up onto Poppy. Kramer there for more damage. And just like that, right as the dragon comes up, CJ gets the pick onto the AD carry. Destroys the top laner.
He knew Stitch's flash was down, and he had the burst. Once you get in that low range versus Corki, and he's able to get the Gat gun off and have that phosphorus bomb just nail you, there's so much damage. And so Kramer making it look easy, does have to expend his flash to do it. And TP. Now there's a TP. Hello.
Yep, that's right, run the gravity field. Oh, nicely knocked off of the gravity field. Thank you.
He was stunned already.
Ah, well. Kindness is its own reward. Bubbling, flashing away. There's a slow into ambition. BDD coming in for a bit more damage. CJ, though, they've already got the dragon. Again, you don't need to over pursue. Don't show them your brain again. Just back off. I like this phrase. I think it's a great phrase. Don't show them your brain.
That's right. Keep all your plans to yourself.
That's right. Keep your sensitive weak spot covered by armor and missile launchers.
Is that what you do with your skull?
Generally, yeah. They don't let me wear it in the studio, but or on planes, but out in the street, you know.
The hat-based missile defense system is operational.
I mean, it's mobile, it's lightweight.
Useful against North Korea.
I suppose, yeah. You never know when that might come in handy. It's true. Ah, yes. A life of constant fear.
It's not really a life.
No,
fear,
not really, no. Don't believe what CNN and Fox News tells you. It's not that bad over here. Oh, okay, fight time. Might be bad for Samsung, though. Oh, Bubbling gets grabbed, though. Crown very low. There's a kill on the Kramer. Might be bad for CJ after all. BDD completely locked up, flashes away. Nice engage from Ambition coming in. And Samsung has found the fight they're looking for. CJ pushed away.
Crown is low. Now, can they do this Baron?
Maybe.
Bubbling is still here. He could look for this. Mad Life is going to check this eventually. Does pop a ward down in there, but Bubbling is already recalled. Ooh, I don't know about that, Bubbling. You were pretty healthy.
Yeah, Mad Life doesn't want to flash and bite the Baron to death, I guess.
Well, Samsung found the fight they were looking for. Split up. CJ really doesn't have a whole lot of a chance. I mean, the package comes in from Kramer.
Oh, Kramer.
Then he has to Valk out. He's got no more escapes. Remember, his flash is down, so Crown is just going to all in him. That was just a terrible idea from
BDD.
Kramer. And then everyone is split up on CJ. They have to be together as a 5-man unit. CJ not doing the best at executing this poke composition, and now they have to deal with Samsung starting to take a very large lead in this game.
Yeah. I mean, things were going so well. It's almost an opposite of last game, where Samsung was one controlling Dragon right to the end, and then CJ, excuse me, CJ came in with a good team fight.
Well, it's just
now in game 2, it's kind of the opposite.
It's interesting because CJ has not been running poke compositions with BDD. They've been running team fight almost exclusively, with the exception of one Zed game. And today, they just decide they're going to run a very fragile poke composition, but they haven't been able to line up properly just as a team and play it strategically particularly well.
Well, they've got to defend this mid lane tier 2, but I don't know how they're going to do it.
They're not. Spoiler.
Yep, explosive cast just used to keep CJ away.
But how much can Samsung realistically pick up on this Baron buff? They can get that one turret, they can get the Baron, but I'm not sure they're going to be able to get any more. They're going to try again for a mid lane tier 2. Varus is already there, has the wave clear. And Corki should be lining up with them. Looks like they are going to get this one too.
Yeah, they've just got too much power, really. Just walk up and
Well,
take
their
it.
engage is very good. And the dive, obviously, with the Alistar ultimate, a major threat against CJ. They've got the wave pushed up in the top side. They're going to try and take the entire inner ring in one go.
And they've got a pretty good chance of doing it. CJ in the best position they've had so far to try to fight this. We'll see if they go in. Bubbling walks up. BDD looking for that chance to ult. There we go. Tara comes in. Chains of Corruption's used. Wraith stopped up. Pops the ultimate. Stays alive. Nice ult from Kube. Knocks Kramer right out of there. They still get Wraith, and they save their tier 2.
So they save one tier 2. Samsung loses one of their members. And CJ has a minute and a half now to play around Dragon number 5. And this is the crucial point in this game, because the gold difference, sure, it's pretty good for Samsung right now, but they have to get through the poke that CJ has to bear on them. And if they can get the priority, if they can get to that Dragon first, they can avoid the fight. Cube is not going to have TP up, just barely, it looks like, for the next engagement.
Well, I mean, CJ...
Well, maybe he will. It'll be close.
I think he probably will, yeah. Let's watch that fight one more time.
Yeah, Wraith is walking forward right here. They do use the defensive gravity field, but Kramer's auto attack is going to follow him right to the end there, even though does utilize his flash to escape.
So CJ did go back. They did recall there to get ready for this dragon fight.
No super minions. They have a lot of opportunities now. Samsung just wants to push up the mid lane and deny them. That's how you can control this objective better, is just push all the way up to the inhibitor, threaten it, and then run all the way back to Dragon, because they have to get back into lane to defend, so you always have the priority angle. But they don't have enough time in this game. It's 10 seconds until spawn, and CJ's going to get right back there. Now, Crab is moving towards Samsung.
Moving towards CJ now, though. They might be able to grab it. They do. Ambition coming from the side, though. He's wanting to flank. Samsung with the big engage. Kramer very low right off the bat. Lamps despite use. Oh, but Kube knocks them out of the Kindred ultimate. CJ on the disengage now. Kramer coming back in with his damage. Utara in the back lines. Crown untouched. He's having to do so much with this Victor, but it looks like it's not enough as CJ continues to chase Samsung away. They got Stitch, they got Ambition, and now Kube on the run. They can turn and take this dragon whenever they want. A kill onto Kube, and that's going to be enough. 5th dragon
Crown
incoming.
is here, no ultimate.
Yeah, he's there. They see him, though. And yeah, now they'll get that dragon. So 5th dragon for CJ. At about 35 minutes, this is exactly what they wanted. They're going to recall, get set up, and see what they can do with this buff.
That Poppy ult was so bad. So look at this. He catches Kramer out. All right, there's a chain of corruption. There's a knock-up coming through. Then he ults Bubbling and Kramer out into the back line. And all of a sudden, Untara and Madlife are able to clog the choke with a Nautilus and a trophy, the Pillar of Ice. And that means that Kramer and BDD are able just to get all of this damage in from the back line. They basically reset, Cube reset that fight to his team's disadvantage.
Save the carry on the other team. Thanks, buddy.
He had Kramer just dead to rights right there.
And now mid turret fell easily. Tier 2 is going to go as well. And we'll see what CJ can do. Just going to go through all the turrets they can at the moment.
Big comeback here from CJ.
Yeah.
They had so much CC to deal with Kramer, and if they kill Kramer at the start of that fight after the great heroic charge, it becomes an entirely different engagement, but they basically just put him right into the back line where he wanted to be. They made CJ's positioning better.
Kube MVP. CJ seems a bit hesitant to fight this. It is under turret, but that 5th dragon stack just gives you so much power. We'll see if they decide to go for it. Waiting for the next mini wave now.
Cube is normally very good. He doesn't typically make mistakes like that. Really surprising.
Well, in the heat of the moment, that's all it takes to turn the game around. CJ going to get this tier 2. Culling used, doesn't do a lot. They're going to go in on the Kube now. Kube cleanses out of that one. Nice knock-up, Chains of Corruption. Get in, do work.
Wow.
Suns Crown with the cleanse. There goes Wraith. And CJ just looks untouchable. The power of this 5th dragon, man. But again, that was a very clean engage from CJ.
Well, they had that chain of corruption hit about 4 people overall, and the
BDD.
continuous true damage was burning away on the members of Samsung. Crown's still alive. We'll see how far CJ would like to push this top lane. Looks like there's going to be an attempt to disengage. Kramer's actually taking the turret right
There's
there.
the exhaust on the Crown. Crown having to flash away. Utara coming in, gets the ult onto Victor. Doesn't look like it connected though. Whoa, that's a lot of damage from that Chaos Storm. Madlife down. They're going to get Kindred too. Bubbling goes. There's Utara. 3 kills in the 3v5. And with 30 seconds, now 2 seconds until Baron comes up. That is the last thing CJ wanted. They could have turned around. They could have set up for that Baron and taken it.
I don't know why CJ keeps going so deep on
Oh,
these fights.
that's a calling.
Going to get delayed, and that's probably going to be a Baron as a result. TP now coming in for Cube.
I don't think they can catch him. No. So CJ really wanted the inhibitor, but they could have just backed off and taken Baron. Instead, Samsung looks like they're the ones who are going to get it.
They could have just not dove and still got an inhibitor. I think that's the real takeaway here. Instead, CJ is going to try and push out their lanes as best as they are able. They know the Baron is forfeit.
Well, they got 2 turrets, but overall, I feel like they kind of squandered that dragon buff.
Well, they got some really nice wins, and I think they could have taken absolutely that inhibitor if they didn't dive so far back. Like, what is Bubbling doing? Just attack. Why are you back there with the rest of these tanks? Instead, they're going to turn it around. They could have just taken the inhibitor right away. Push them. They could just push them off the inhib very easily and use their poke and their range advantage to take the inhibitor. You don't have to try and kill them. Just a split call too. Everyone else just trying to take that inhibitor. It was a 3v3, and Victor still does a lot of damage.
Yeah, of course.
And they can kite you well, too. You have a Rylai's on this Victor. He is providing crowd control while you're attempting to come in on him.
So now CJ has to defend another Baron push. They didn't lose any inhibitors or any inhibitor turrets last time, but they did lose a couple of tier 2s. So we'll see how well they can defend this. They've got good poke. They've got pretty good wave clear.
It's another Baron that they have to weather through, and it looks like the Baron buff will be done approximately the same time that the Dragon spawns yet again. It'll be close. So CJ may have an even fight for that one. Samsung also doesn't have a great siege composition unless they want to commit to using the Grog Assaults and knocking everybody off the turret.
True.
I didn't see if Lucian had rapid fire cannon yet though, but that would be helpful with the range increase.
I didn't notice either. We'll see when they bring back the items. Wraith going very deep here. All right, Samsung wants to go in. Kube dives, and now CJ's going to try to turn around. They catch Kube out. Kube ults a couple members of CJ away. Kramer has to vouch to get out of the damage from the culling. Mad Light backs off too. The inhibitor is still alive for the moment anyway.
Kube's way too low to continue that siege. He almost died, and with TP down, he can't just recall and TP back in.
Yeah.
That will break the siege. Samsung definitely not pushing it too far, unlike CJ.
45 seconds until the next dragon comes up too, and if CJ can grab that, they can push this one right back.
Smart of Samsung, though, to keep the timers in mind. They know what the most important objective is. They already broke the base. They can come back for the inhibitor later, but in the interim, they have to deny this 5th dragon again because it has been a Baron 5th dragon seesaw in this game.
Yeah, they'll be able to put some pressure on that mid lane while they keep CJ off the dragon, or they can just continue pushing. They've still got a little bit of that Baron buff left.
This is the right call for sure. You want to keep pushing this as long as you can. You already have the angle on the dragon, so put the pressure on, see if you can get it.
Oh, and Tara just walking right up, man. CJ wants to fight this if they need to. That inhibitor's so low, they got to go now. If they're going to go at all, they're going to lose the inhibitor. They do. CJ just lets it go.
Bubbling taking a bunch of damage from a Death Ray. Means he will not be at full health for any kind of dragon engage that occurs, but there aren't going to be super minions there for a little bit. So Samsung, they should just send their AD carry back right now to do it solo.
Looks like they're sending everybody back to do it now. Samsung going after this dragon. They're just going to take their first one, get the nice stats buff, and prevent CJ from taking it. CJ waiting in the river. But now the super minion waves are coming in, so it's going to be tough to push this one. You'd think it'd be.
Well, they have the angle onto the mid lane, and Samsung actually can't get back in there, so we actually might see a trade of inhib for inhib in the mid lane.
Could be. CJ pushing up right now. Samsung looking for a way to come from the side.
Oh, they didn't get
right
it.
there. Nah, they didn't get the inhibitor turret. 40 health left. Ugh.
And that's going to be slowly regenning too. CJ, they've been playing this poke composition like one of their standard compositions instead of the way it should be, and in spite of the advantages that they were able to get, in spite of that 5th dragon, they haven't been able to put together a win because of overextensions or being caught out, not grouping properly, and Samsung has punished that. That was really good play by Samsung on the mid lane into the dragon. And also a nice response from CJ, trying to just muscle them out of the mid lane so they could take an objective in return at the end. Almost got it, but not quite.
Feels like now we're going to be waiting until the next objective comes up.
Yep, it's basically just going to be wave clear for CJ. They're not going to want to fight. They still will have their eyes on that 5th dragon as the necessary win condition.
Yeah, Baron's going to come up a little bit sooner. See who fights over that.
About 3 minutes left on that Baron, given the time of the dragon spawn in comparison to the buff. There it is, 2 minutes now.
Okay.
So what do you want to talk about for the next 2 minutes?
Well, I don't know. I got nothing.
Wow, Zeke's onto Mad Life.
Huh, okay. I mean, trying to boost the damage of, well, really any of his carries, I suppose. Who'd you put that on? Probably
Well,
Kindred?
I can tell you, because we can see that it's on Kramer.
Oh, you're right.
Got arrows pointing at each other.
see
Item
that
we don't
now.
see very often, but if Kramer can get
That's
auto
true.
range, that is going to be helpful. Unfortunately, his auto range means that he is in the death zone for Crown for the most part, though he does have the rapid fire cannon to give him a little bit of an extra advantage.
Yep. All right, CJ is riding the wave down to the middle of mid lane now.
Super Minions really not going to do that much in the late game with how much damage CJ has as part of their composition.
Yeah, they've definitely got a good comp for keeping the pressure off, even if their inhibitor's down.
So CJ pushes out. They are trying to make time for one more purchase before they actually go into this next battle. Essence Reaver now there for Kramer, so CDR priority. Wants to be able to spam as many rockets as he can. Help out with that poke alongside BDD. Now the great grouping of CJ begins.
Yeah, bearing up.
Samsung has a monopoly on the vision. Cuvee is there.
Bearing up very soon. They may just...
Waiting to TP. Here we go, Noah.
They're trying to come in. TP coming from the top, actually. Cuvee getting in the back lines. Bubbling are very low. Utara tries to mix things up with Samsung. Bubbling taken out immediately. Lamb's Sprite does nothing. BDD takes a lot of damage. He's out of the fight already, too. Utara flashes away. Samsung has all the cards at the moment. Cuvee jumping in, trying to take down that tanky Nautilus. Madlife gets knocked up. Kramer and BDD trying to kite backwards. They get Ambition. Kills coming in on both sides. Kramer finding Wraith now. That's another kill for CJ. And they turn this one around for the moment. Madlife flash, pillars, Cuvee slowed up. Death Ray over the wall from Crown will push CJ back just a bit. And Stitch is still there. Kill on to Madlife. Carries versus carries, but Samsung
Stitch.
still with a bit of a lead.
Oh.
Whoa! Needs to be careful there. Takes a big crit. Kramer gets the kill. BDD comes in. Oh, they get the finish. Crown is still alive though. Just barely, and I don't think he wants to try to stop this one himself.
No, he needs to
Ooh,
just
boy.
go back home right now. Everybody too low, so they catch out Bubbling. Crown uses his ult on just one target, though. Bubbling's going to drop this. Now, nice ult by Ambition, you're going to notice, to move everybody out of Lamb's Respite. That's exactly what you want to do. Nicely played there by Ambition. But they're going to start kiting. CJ now, they get everybody in a choke. Samsung commits 5 people into this choke point around Nautilus, which gives Kramer and BDD some time to deal some damage. Ambition's going to be the first to fall. We see Wraith going in. Wraith does not have his ultimate any longer, so he is easy pickings. And then everyone else just has to run. Madlife with the flash, pillar, nice death ray over the side. Kramer no longer with the Valk. So Stitch comes in, tries to get the flank right here, does end up picking off Madlife, but there's no more crowd control. Gravity, well, is down. Stitch, that was a really bad, and if Kramer had flashed right there, Stitch would have died even faster. But yeah, you can't play that aggressively. In the meantime, CJ is going to get a Baron.
Wow, that's right. They're going to get Crown low, too. Everybody having to go through the cast field. Kramer, nice Kindred, all bubbling, saves his AD carry right at the end there.
He was waiting to see if he didn't have to use it or not.
Yep.
But Bubbling, since he was the first one to die in that fight, and most of Samsung's members were cleaned up on the backside, especially Stitch, it gave them the time to 3-man Baron while they still had the smite up before Ambition could get there. So good call from CJ. And now they can chain this straight into a 5th Dragon, but they don't have Lamb's Respite. That is key. Remember that going into this fight.
They do have a big minion wave pushing down in bot lane, though, that they can keep some pressure on with. Nice arrow on
Oh,
Stitch.
there's no Chaos Storm from Crown either. That's actually a bigger deal than the Lamb's Respite. Because at this point, you're probably not going to use that very efficiently because Ambition will just knock you off it. But that Chaos Storm is really crucial.
Yep. Samsung starting this Dragon. CJ needs to engage if they want to take it. Gotta be careful, they don't want to lose that Baron buff. Utara coming in, Dragon does go over to Samsung for the moment. CJ decides to fight, throwing some damage over the wall, just poking, doing what they can. Ambition Crown right there, Nautilus on the Crown. They get the knockup. Kramer getting himself in a good position to do a lot of damage. Cuvee, look at this, CJ just splitting up the entire Samsung team. That's a double kill for Kramer now. And there goes Cuvee. Big team fight win for CJ. Minions doing Bubbling's work for him in the end. Wraith and Stitch waiting over the wall. If they can maybe come in and get a couple kills, they can stop CJ from winning the game right now.
Huge mistake from Samsung. They split after doing the Dragon. I don't know why they would go 2 different directions, but that just means we've got to charge forward onto the base from CJ.
That's right. Easy win for CJ with only the bot lane remaining, and CJ will take the 2-0, and they are now 4th place in Champion Spring. What a season for CJ. GG.
And 3-0 since BDD's debut.
Hey, that's a good point too. Not the toughest opponents until now, but they really proved themselves today.
Yeah, Samsung, I think, made a lot of mistakes in that game, much more than we typically see, but they were coming off a hard loss against KT. I think game 1, they had a poor draft, and that really contributed to their defeat. But this game, I think their draft was A-OK, and just some misplays. They did what they could against this poke composition. But giving up all those early dragons ultimately hurt them quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I felt like in the end, it was CJ being CJ yet again, right? They won those crucial team fights that they needed to win. And you really can't discount the effect that BDD is having on this crew now.
Yeah, a little bit shaky in that last game, however. Still managed to make it through all right. CJ certainly needs to work out their closure when they have a poke comp not getting separated. But Samsung, that last fight, I really feel that they had a very good opportunity to take that one or to just deal with the exposed inhibitor again back out towards the mid lane. Instead, they split up 2 and 3, and Samsung takes that opportunity just to flash Nautilus ult Crown, who's their main source of damage. They take the win.
Man, that fight at the end there, though, when it ended up being that 2v3, Kramer and BDD, Scarred carrying that fight by themselves. That was impressive stuff.
Tough loss for Samsung.
Yeah. Yep, they'll move down a bit. But I like it, man. I mean, yeah, we've got Rocks Tigers on the top right now. KT's looking good too, but a lot of this season is still up in the air as far as teams that are getting playoff spots. Really hard to predict right now.
Certainly is, but CJ on the rise. They've got a lot of tough opponents ahead. Went through most of the soft part of their schedule already, facing the 2 worst teams in the league in Kongdu and Spenu. Finally face somebody higher up, but the mountain only gets steeper from here for them.
And from here for us will be Spenu versus Rocks Tigers when we get back, guys. Should be an entertaining best of 3, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.